Kanye West, obviously a huge name in music and culture. And then you have Andrew Tate, the former kickboxer turned...
influencer.
Yeah, influencer, you could say that, and very controversial figure, and they've apparently been spending some time together.
Yeah, and this isn't like just a random sighting or something. There's evidence they were actually recording something together, maybe a podcast episode.
A podcast? Wow, so where did this all come from?
Well, the story actually starts with a lawsuit, believe it or not.
A lawsuit, okay.
Yeah. So a woman named Bree Stern, who's a former girlfriend of Andrew Tate, filed a lawsuit against him.
So this is getting serious.
Yeah, it is. She's accusing him of sexual assault, and the details are pretty disturbing. But that's not the only thing that came out of this lawsuit.
So there's more to this.
There is, in the court documents and the reporting surrounding it, there's mention of Kanye West having recently been in a recording studio with Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan Tate.
Wow, that's quite a group to be hanging out together.
Yeah, it definitely raises some eyebrows, and it seems like they were all there together for a reason to record this podcast.
Okay, so we've got a lawsuit alleging some very serious things, and then this news about a secret recording session with Kanye West and the Tate brothers.
Right, and it doesn't end there because Andrew Tate's attorney has actually been talking about this meeting on social media.
Oh, really? What's he saying?
Well, he's been pretty vague, but he's described it as a lengthy conversation between the three men and said they talked about their experiences of suffering and betrayals related to their achievements.
Suffering and betrayals. Huh. That's pretty loaded language.
It is, especially when you consider the public images and the controversies that surround all three of them. I mean, what kind of suffering are we talking about here?
Right. They're all incredibly successful in their own ways. They've achieved a level of fame and wealth that most people can only dream of.
Yeah, and yet they seem to feel like they've been wronged somehow, like they've made sacrifices and faced opposition because of their success.
It's interesting to think about their different paths to notoriety. Kanye West is obviously a musical genius who's pushed boundaries and challenged the status quo, but he's also known for his erratic behavior and controversial statements.
And then you have Andrew Tate, who's built his platform on being provocative and outspoken. He's known for his views on masculinity and his lavish lifestyle, but he's also been accused of misogyny and even violence.
And Tristan Tate, Andrew's brother, is often seen as his right-hand man. He shares a lot of the same views and has also been involved in various controversies.
So you have these three men with very different backgrounds, but they seem to share a sense of being misunderstood or unfairly targeted.
Maybe they bond over that feeling of being outsiders, even though they're all incredibly successful.
Yeah, it's like they formed this exclusive club of people who've achieved greatness, but have also suffered for it.
And this podcast could be their way of sharing their stories and their perspectives with the world.
It's possible they might see it as an opportunity to set the record straight, or to offer advice to others who are striving for success.
But it also makes you wonder what kind of audience they're trying to reach. Are they preaching to the choir, or are they trying to win over people who might be skeptical of them?
That's a good question, and it's hard to say for sure without actually hearing the podcast itself.
So far, we only have these little hints and teases from Andrew Tate's attorney.
Right, but we also have Andrew Tate himself talking about this meeting on his own platform.
Oh, that's right. He does those live streams, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. And he was actually pretty enthusiastic about his experience at Kanye's studio.
What did he say?
Well, he described it as an underground Batman-esque cavern, which sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I can picture that like a hidden lair where Kanye goes to create his music.
Exactly. And Tate seemed really impressed by the whole setup. He called it an amazing experience and said it was unlike anything he had ever seen before.
So maybe the setting itself contributed to the atmosphere of the conversation.
It's definitely possible. If you're in a space that's both private and creatively inspiring, it could lead to a more open and honest dialogue.
It's like they were all stepping into Kanye's world for a little while.
And that shared experience could have helped them to bond and to feel more comfortable sharing their thoughts and feelings.
So we have this intriguing meeting of the minds happening in this unique setting, and the result is this podcast that's shrouded in secrecy.
Yeah, it's like a puzzle. We have these little pieces of information, but we don't know how they all fit together.
It makes you wonder what was actually said during this lengthy conversation. What did they talk about? What were their main points?
It's hard to say for sure, but given their individual histories and their public personas, I think it's safe to assume that they covered some controversial topics.
Oh, definitely. You've got Kanye West, who's no stranger to making headlines with his statements. And then you have the Tate brothers, who've built their careers on being provocative.
So I imagine the conversation probably touched on things like masculinity, success, fame, and maybe even politics or religion.
It could be anything, really, and that's what makes it so fascinating.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless, and it's hard not to speculate.
So we have this unreleased podcast, a mysterious meeting in a Batman-esque cavern, and 3 incredibly controversial figures at the center of it all.
It's like a recipe for a media frenzy, and that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, the internet is buzzing with theories and opinions, and everyone's waiting to see what this podcast is all about.
But this whole situation has already had some real-world consequences, particularly for Kanye West and his relationship with his ex-wife, Kim Kardashian.
Oh, right. Kim Kardashian was reportedly not happy about this meeting with the Tate brothers.
That's putting it mildly. She was apparently so concerned that she cut short their daughter Northwest's visit with Kanye.
Wow, that's a pretty strong reaction.
It suggests that she sees the Tate brothers as a negative influence on her daughter, and she doesn't want them to be around her.
And you can understand her concern, especially given the allegations against Andrew Tate.
Absolutely. These are serious accusations, and Kim Kardashian is clearly taking them seriously.
And to make matters even more complicated, all of this happened around the same time that Kanye West released a song featuring North and collaborated with Diddy, who's also facing some legal trouble.
Yeah, the timing is definitely interesting. It's like all these different storylines are converging at once.
And in the midst of all this, Kanye West took to social media and made some incredibly serious accusations against the Kardashians.
Oh yeah, he accused them of sex trafficking, which is a huge accusation.
Yeah, and he didn't provide any evidence to support his claims.
So it's hard to know what to make of that, but it's clearly a very sensitive and potentially damaging situation.
Especially for his children who are caught in the middle of all this.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that even though these celebrities live very public lives, their families are still affected by their actions.
So this whole situation is a mess, really. You've got this unreleased podcast that's shrouded in mystery, and then you have all this drama and controversy surrounding Kanye West and his family.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack, and it's hard to predict how it's all going to play out.
Yeah, but one thing's for sure, this is a story that's going to continue to make headlines for a while.
Definitely, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens when and if this podcast is ever released.
Because who knows what they actually talked about in that Batman-esque cavern.
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And until we hear the podcast itself, we're just left to speculate.
But in the meantime, I think it's important to remember that there are real people involved in this story and that their lives are being affected by these events.
Absolutely. We should be mindful of that and avoid jumping to conclusions or making judgments based on incomplete information.
Yeah, let's wait and see what happens next and try to approach this situation with empathy and understanding.
I agree. It's a complex situation with a lot of different perspectives, and it's important to listen to all sides of the story.
Well, thanks for joining me for this deep dive into the Kanye West Andrew Tate saga. It's been a wild ride.
No problem. It's been interesting to explore this with you.
And to all of you listening out there, what do you make of all this? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.
We're curious to hear your perspectives on this developing story.
Stay tuned for more deep dives into the latest news and events that are shaping our world.
We'll be back soon with another episode. So until then, stay informed and stay engaged.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.